Welcome back, everyone. A big shout out from Shamik. All right, let's get to it. Now, before you start preparing for your Ielts test, I want you to remember certain techniques and a game plan and a strategy, basically, that I use that help me get a higher than desired score for me personally in the Ielts exam. So I break it down basically into a series of different steps. Let's go through those 4 steps that I feel need to be part of any strategy to improvise your Ielts score. So let's get into it. The very first point that you need to remember, and the very first thing that you need to sit down and finalize and decide basically is, when will you take your Ielts exam? So that is very important. Enroll for the Ielts exam, because what that does is it puts you under pressure. I don't know about you, but me personally, when I know there's a deadline coming around the road, or when I know that I need to prepare for something, for me that is positive stress. Eustress is what they call it, eustress. And positive stress basically is similar stress that is felt by athletes before a big game, a sports star before a big championship match, or whatnot. And what that does is, this pressure, when you know there's a timeline, when you know there's a date for your Ielts exam, you will put more effort into it. So the first step, enroll for the Ielts exam. Let's talk a little bit about the second step in the Ielts preparation strategy that I followed and that helped me out. And that second step is, once you have decided a date for your Ielts exam, take a diagnostic test, okay? This is very important. Now, the reason behind taking a diagnostic test is exactly that. It's a diagnosis of where you stand right now. And a lot of people skip this step. My recommendation, there's lots of good Ielts diagnostic tests out there online. You can find a lot of good resources. I'm going to put some resources in the description as well. And you could always reach out to me if you need them. Just do a little bit of research, Google search, and you'll find lots of good diagnostic tests out there. Make sure to take at least one test and see where you stand. And after you've done that, try and set a realistic goal for yourself in terms of where you want to be. So this is the second step, setting timelines and taking your diagnostic test. The third step in my Ielts preparation strategy would be to actually allocate time to Ielts preparation in your daily schedule. Now, I know that sounds quite intuitive and logical, and you would say that, Shamik, everyone knows that. You have to dedicate time for your Ielts preparation. So why are you making that an important step? Well, the reason being, and this is something you're all very familiar with, we might create or we might develop a schedule, but sometimes we might not stick to it, right? Life happens, commitments happen, things change, priorities change, and that happens. I understand that, but just make sure that you stick to your schedule as much as you can, okay? Because that will ensure your success in the actual exam. So let's say that, for example, you've decided you're going to be studying for 2 to 3 hours every day for the first 5 business days of the week. Let's say that that's your game plan. Make sure you stick to that and you allocate that time for the Ielts preparation. I cannot emphasize how important this step is. Make sure to stick to your schedule. The fourth step that you need to keep in mind after you're done with the first 3 steps is, now that you have allocated time and you're setting you're studying and preparing for the Ielts test, make sure to set a date for a few practice tests. Now, how many practice tests do you need to take before you take your actual Ielts exam? Well, I would say the best answer to that is, it depends, right? So let's say that you still need more practice and you're far away from your objective score in the Ielts exam. The objective score meaning the score that you're targeting. So I should say your target score. Let's say that you're a bit far away from that. So maybe you need to take a few more practice tests before you take the actual exam. So just your specific preparation and your score on your first practice test that you take after you've started preparing for your Ielts exam will determine where you stand and what you need to do to achieve your target score in the Ielts exam. So make sure to take enough practice tests before the real practice test so that you can know where you stand and know your level and know what you need to do. Now, the final and the most important step in your Ielts preparation strategy, something that is personal to me. It might work for you, okay? And if it doesn't, that's fine. But it's just, I always like giving out advice. I feel that if it helps somebody out there, I've done my job. And if it doesn't help anybody, no harm done, right? So the final step in my IELTS preparation strategy that really helped me out was positive reinforcement. Okay, now you've done all the hard work, you've taken all the tests. So now what you need to do is to celebrate that, okay, guys? A lot of times we're putting so much pressure on ourselves that we have done all the preparation, that we have prepared well, but then we fail in the actual exam. Or we don't achieve the desired score that we wanted in our actual exam because of anxiety, because of stress, and because of other circumstances that we could have controlled. So remember, what you can't control, don't worry about it. What you can control, make sure you're really good at it, okay? So now that you've done everything, you've done the preparation, you've done your practice tests, the final step is stay on track and stay confident and positively visualize your success, all right? So make sure to do that, and let me know if these steps and this whole strategy helps you out in achieving a high IELTS score. Make sure to put down in the comments, everyone, whether my strategy helps you out, whether the tips help you out. And good luck to everyone out there in getting your high scores, in getting your target scores in your IELTS exam. And like I say, keep trekking. Take care. Bye-bye.